You're listening to The Secrets of Doctor Who, where we discuss everything about the hit BBC series, Doctor Who. And today we're discussing the fifth Doctor story, Planet of Fire. I'm Dom Bettinelli, and joining me today is Jimmy Akin. Hey, Jimmy.
Howdy, Dom.
Folks, be sure to, if you have a chance, or please do, because it really helps us a lot, write a review of the show on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. There's plenty of places where they allow you to give a rating or review, and those really do help a lot, help us get the show out to more people. So we really do appreciate when you do that. So we are talking about the fifth Doctor story, Planet of Fire, and as I always do, I'm going to throw it to Jimmy and ask you to give us a recap of what happens in this episode.
Now that Tegan's gone, the Fifth Doctor and Turlough are joined by the missing robotic companion Chameleon, who finally shows up again. He's malfunctioning and has plugged himself into the TARDIS computer. He sets the coordinates to the Earth island of Lanzarote, where Turlough rescues a sort of American Peri Brown and brings her aboard the TARDIS, along with an artifact from his newly named home planet Tryon that was discovered just off of Lanzarote. Then the TARDIS goes to Sarn, the titular planet of fire. Once there, Chameleon starts impersonating a friend of Peri and also impersonating the Master because he's a shape changer, you'll remember. It turns out that Chameleon is under the control of the Master, but his control is shaky. It also turns out that Turlough's secret brother is on Sarn and that he and his brother are political prisoners who were exiled from Tryon due to their father's involvement in a civil war. Lots of stuff happens, and it turns out that the Master accidentally shrunk himself while trying to upgrade his tissue compression eliminator. He has Chameleon pilot his TARDIS into flame, rushing up through a volcano as if volcanoes do that, and this flame has been contaminated with an unobtainium healing gas that restores the Master to full size. Chameleon is also freed from the Master's influence and begs the Doctor to kill him, so the Doctor does. He kills a companion. He also changes the gas mixture to kill the Master, and the Master is apparently burned alive, saying to the Doctor, "Won't you have mercy on your own?" Afterwards, Turlough learns that there's been an amnesty on his planet, so he and his secret brother are welcome to return from exile. With Tegan gone and Chameleon dead, Turlough decides to go home. But Peri asks to travel with the Doctor, and he agrees. The end.
So what'd you think of this one, Jimmy?
It's kind of in the middle. For me, it's certainly nowhere near as bad as the Sixth Doctor stuff that follows it. It's okay. One of the things that I saw someone point out for this story is it's one of the highest requirement stories that Doctor Who has ever had. There are a whole bunch of hoops that the writer had to jump through, things that were required to be in this episode. We've got to write Chameleon out. We've got to write Turlough out. We've got to introduce Peri. We've got to use the Master because he's connected with Chameleon. There's just a whole bunch of stuff, and it's kind of hard to follow in a good chunk of the story. I mean, stuff's happening, but it's not always clear what or why. Like a lot of it is Chameleon is changing forms. He's got his robot form. He impersonates Peri's friend Howard. He impersonates the Master. And then he's got this sort of silvery version of Howard where he's got his skin turned silver to make him look kind of robotic. But he keeps changing form, and it's not always obvious. Like, is that the real Master, or is that Chameleon? Or it's a complex story. But I thought it had tense elements to it that were good. I like when a story communicates, tension. I also like how, even though Peri is totally not an American and is doing a bad imitation of one, and also becomes a screamer periodically, she nevertheless shows agency. I mean, she figures stuff out on her own and takes initiative. Like, at various points, Chameleon, who's channeling the Master, so it's effectively the Master talking to her, even though it's through the body of Chameleon. he's telling her, you're going to do this and you're going to do that. I'm the master. You're going to obey me. Oh, by the way, she's too strong-minded for the master to hypnotize her. I like that. But he's compelling her to obey him, and he's insulting her intelligence, and it's her who discovers the actual master, because since he's been shrunk down, he's hiding inside this control box for Chameleon. And we don't know that initially. We see the master using some kind of headset to control Chameleon, but we assume he's full size, just in some room in his TARDIS somewhere. But no, he's tiny. He's in a little box.
And, master.
and Peri has deduced that this is Chameleon's control box. And even though he's told her, you'd never understand this, she says, to herself, you don't have to be a genius to find the off switch. And she raises the lid, and there's the master. and so she finds the master, and then when the box gets tipped over and he goes scurrying around, she takes off her shoe and starts to try to go swat the master with her shoe, which is great.
They should have done the little voice thing they do sometimes when people are small. That would have been quite funny. And they hold them up like a doll.
Unfortunately, she then starts sneezing for no apparent reason. I don't know why it was in the show at all.
Maybe she's allergic to little people. I don't know. We could. I thought this was okay. I mean, this is the penultimate Fifth Doctor story. His regeneration story is the next one in line. This is our last televised Doctor story, Fifth Doctor story that we're going to be talking about. So, Caves of Androzani is next. It was. I would have hoped for a little more, but these are always these just before the regeneration stories. I think are almost always chaotic and overstuffed, and they're trying to do so much in order to prepare to clear the decks for the next Doctor.
Yeah.
And it's just the way it is.
And frankly, I think they could have gotten away without giving us any resolution on Chameleon.
I don't think anybody would have been sad if he never showed up again.
He only appeared in the King's Demon, the King's Demons, and this.
Yeah.
He was meant to be a more regular companion, but the guy who designed the robot which was not designed for Doctor Who, but the guy who designed the robot died in a boating accident before he wrote an instruction manual, or before it was finished anyway. And so they didn't know, once they bought Chameleon, they didn't know how to control it. And so it ended up just being, unused for this period, which was stupid because it's a shape-changing robot.
Just have it be whatever.
Just have a new actor walk out of the back rooms of the TARDIS and say, hi, I'm Chameleon, and that's all you need to do. But
which is essentially what they did in this episode, because the prop itself only shows up a few times, but then, like you mentioned, you have Howard who looks like Howard, then you have Silver Howard and Master, and that's most of the time. It goes by quick, but Howard is Peri's stepfather. Like they don't. It comes up really early, because Peri is a bored American college student who is bored of Lanzarote, Lanzarote, and so decides she's going to run off to Morocco, of all places, with a bunch of British college boys that she's just met. Like, I mean, it explains why she's so ready to run off with the Doctor and the TARDIS. So she's kind of flaky, I guess, but. And the stepfather's trying to be good stepdad, strands her on his boat so she can't go. Like, he tricks her into going out to the boat to get money or something, or a passport, and then strands her out there so that she can't go to the airport and run off with these boys. And then she nearly drowns trying to swim to shore, and it's only Turlough who ends up saving her.
Which is also, why did you jump in the water if you don't know how to swim?
Exactly. Well, I can understand, like, sometimes people underestimate how far distances are on the water, and they try to swim further than they should. She clearly was trying to swim further than she should.
Also, there's a little clue to where in America Peri may be from here, because she alludes to Howard confusing her with people. I forget what she's like, the Albuquerque women's group, or an Albuquerque choir or something like that. and it's like, I'm sorry, there's no way you're from New Mexico. You're just not a New Mexican.
Yeah. It's not Albuquerque. It's something. Yeah. I feel like Bugs Bunny has really given people who aren't from America, or at least at a certain in a certain time, an idea that like Albuquerque is the prototypical American place. I took a wrong turn at Albuquerque. Yeah, it was kind of an odd reference. So we have this planet of fire, and we have these natives who live there. And was I right in my understanding that they are a sort of a lost colony of Tryon?
Well, what I got was that there is a native population, and that's most of the people on Sarn.
Okay.
But there's also a lost Tryon colony that kind of integrated with them, and there are a few Tryonians like Turlough's secret brother.
Okay.
But they look just like the natives.
Right.
So there's no way to tell them apart.
And they have this religion tied to both the mountain of the volcano, but also a symbol that the people from Tryonians have, or some do have on that, like scarred on their skin.
Yeah, at least a lot of the ones here do, because they're prisoners. And apparently apparently only Turlough's secret brother has that symbol, because he's considered the chosen one of Logar, their volcano god, which is based on a Tryonian in a thermal suit,
right?
Who could manipulate the volcano,
right? Because the Tryonians had installed all this equipment that could suppress or control the volcano for reasons. I guess so that it wasn't a death sentence to send them there. They wanted them to live on this awful place, but not send them to die in a volcanic explosion, I guess.
Yeah. Turlough also says that they've got spies on all these different worlds, and he mentions like a super eccentric barrister in London who's their spy, who was the one that condemned him, Turlough, to this most awful place in the universe, Cheltenham or wherever it was that he was going to school.
Yes, the boarding school. So this religion has.
But by the way, the doctor. Now, I thought this was ridiculous. I thought this was a flaw in the script. But the doctor, now that I'm kind of okay. I mean, really, it's bad writing, but I'm kind of okay with them introducing Tryon as Turlough's home planet and introducing the symbol on his arm and everything like that. But the doctor is talking to him at one point and says, "Why have you never mentioned your home planet before?" And I'm going, "You've been traveling the universe with this guy and not even know where he's from? You never asked? Really?" Yeah,
the doctor would have to be a real jerk.
An idiot.
Yeah. It's also like the doctor seems to know everything about every companion who ever comes from Earth, but the ones who come from elsewhere is like he couldn't care less. It's weird. It's Earth-centric writing, I guess. I was going to say about the religion of the Planet of Fire. So you have this religious leader. The Malkon turns out to be Turlough's brother. But you have this religious leader, and he's trying. Malkon's the chosen one. Timonov. Thank you. And he's trying to convince him to do different things related to the religion, including condemn people to death. So some of the atheists or heretics from their
unbelievers.
Yeah. He says it's still a wise precaution to send the occasional free thinker to the flames, encourages faith in our traditions. That's a pretty conservative viewpoint there.
Yeah. Apparently there was much more. Timonov was originally painted as much more of a fanatical Ayatollah Khomeini type, and they really toned him down for the final script. And I kind of like how we've got a local religion here, but we tolerate unbelievers, and except occasionally they'll burn them, but that's apparently only during the times of fire, which are apparently rare volcanic eruptions, but the rest of the time they tolerate them.
They do have a discussion of faith in the face of suffering. Timonov, says their God is testing them. The ways of the gods are complex. And he says, accept what you see and hear and feel all around you, and the faith will come. Sort of, if you just believe.
It's not quite what Blaise Pascal said. But.
Yeah. It's a sort of, if you squint. So I thought that was an interesting aspect early on, is to develop this idea of this primitive religion that they're kind of connected to, that they're sort of created in a sense, that the Trions did unintentionally. So what else is there? You mentioned the Doctor kills Chameleon. Yeah.
And so, I mean, the Sixth Doctor strangles Peri, but he doesn't kill her. Here, the Doctor kills someone.
Yeah.
And Peter Davison has said any look of anguish on his face. So Chameleon is freed from the Master's control. He begs the Doctor to destroy him. He uses destroy rather than kill, since he's a robot, and since it makes it easier for the audience to say, oh, he just destroyed a robot. He didn't kill the robot. But then Peter Davison does, and he says that any expression of anguish on his face in performing the act was pure acting. Because they were all really frustrated with Chameleon. One thing that and how he does it is interesting too. He's got the Master's tissue compression eliminator, and he shrinks him down to the size of a tiny doll. And we've seen the Master do that to people before, and it kills them. It not only shrinks them, it kills them. But it's interesting to have the Doctor using the Master's weapon to kill Chameleon. And also, this is a tissue compression eliminator. How does that work on a robot?
Yeah. I guess it compresses more than tissue. I mean, now you get. I would love it if in New Who you just like be panning to like the Doctor's possessions and have just a little silver robot sitting on a like when we did, what was the special TARDIS memory TARDIS. If that had all those different bits of the Doctor's memories, if there was they'd done that as a little Easter egg in there, that would have been fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's see what else. I had a note on using the actor who plays Foster to be Chameleon because nobody wanted the robot actually on stage. And then we have, you mentioned this very evocative line from the Master as he's about to die. Yep. Won't you show mercy to your own blank?
Yeah, and it's interesting that comes right after he's just been describing all the hideous tortures he's going to inflict on the Doctor before he kills him. And then all of a sudden it's, won't you have mercy on your own? And he was asked, John Nathan Turner was asked, how is the line supposed to end? What was the Master going to say? And the final word was brother. And so we've actually got two secret brothers in this. We have Turlough's secret brother and the Doctor's secret brother. And I totally stick by, I don't care if they cast doubt on it in the 10th Doctor's time. The Master is totally the Doctor's secret brother.
Yeah, whether adopted, foster, but there is a relationship there, I think, because we kind of get the sense in New Who that the Doctor might have been fostered to another family or something.
Or something. They're unclear about that, but we also have indication that, like when we go to the barn on Gallifrey in the 11th Doctor's time or the 12th Doctor's time, we hear the caretakers talking about the boys.
Yeah, exactly.
And one of the boys is the Doctor.
Right. And maybe another or the other is the Master.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think of any other things that I noticed. I do want to talk at the end, kind of sum up our reflections on the Fifth Doctor's time, since this is our last televised.
Well, I thought we agreed we were going to redo the
caves,
the final regeneration, the final stories of each Doctor, since we now, unlike, because we originally did all the regeneration stories at the beginning.
Yeah.
And like, you didn't know the Doctors at the time.
True.
And so we decided we'd rewatch the War Games now that we know who the second Doctor is. And I thought we decided we were going to do the same thing for the other Doctors.
Oh, okay. Okay. So I'll save this for that then. So do you have any other notes on this one? Because
yeah, I think that Silver Howard is kind of creepy.
Yeah.
I like that. There's a moment where, I guess it's Chameleon, but in the guise of the Master, is walking around the TARDIS control console in front of Peri, and he's flipping switches on it as he does it. And that kind of goes along with the hypothesis that's been advanced that you really are supposed to have 6 pilots. Mm-hmm. And that's part of why the Doctor has such trouble guiding the TARDIS. Let's see. I like how Turlough so at one point his secret brother gets injured, and they actually think he's dead. The natives do. He's not, but they think he is. And since Turlough has the same brand on his arm, it's this Trion symbol called the Mesos triangle that you wear that's been branded onto you if you're a criminal, like a political prisoner. But Turlough has the same brand, and he says, "Aha! I'm the new chosen one of Logar. Y'all have to obey me now." And he gets bossy in the cause of good. And he's like really firm. Everybody into the TARDIS, and he just takes charge of the situation.
Yeah.
I like that. Peri has this terrible non-rhotic accent or non-rhotic accent, doctor instead of doctor.
Right. Like she's from the Northeast somewhere, which
is totally not Albuquerque.
No.
And I like when the Master is revealed as tiny. He's out of the box. He's struggling to deal with things. I just like seeing the tiny Master struggling with stuff. And then just to hype the threat, there's this magic healing gas. So they call it numismaton gas. Mm-hmm. And there's apparently a big deposit of it. And it's like, okay, volcanoes, they do vent gas, but they don't normally vent flames the way we see here. They vent lava. But although they can, vent gases. But the Doctor at one point, just to up the drama in part 4, the Doctor says the Master has triggered a surge of the gas in the planet core, and it's going to destroy the planet. And so he's got to do something about that. And it's like, really? Is that how plausible is you've got this gas that's going to blow up your planet in its core if it's released? Yeah. Yeah. It's sci-fi TV shows really have a problem with scale. Like just like this, the scale, it would just be a tiny, tiny planet. Like planets are big. Like they're big. Yeah. So I get that. Yeah. But anyway, those were my comments.
All right. So, I mean, just in general, I mean, it was okay. I like when they go on location to places, like they went to Lanzarote, and, there was interesting outdoor shooting in places at this era is always fun. Yeah.
That's also why they changed costumes in this episode, because their normal clothes are designed for Europe, where it's much colder.
Right.
And Lanzarote is in the Canary Islands down near the equator. And so that's why all of a sudden Turlough's wearing shorts and the Doctor is not wearing all of his cricket outfit, and Peri is in shorts, and it's because it's so hot there.
Right. Right. And we didn't mention,
although the Master has to wear that full black suit.
Yeah. We didn't really, discuss in detail, but, Peri does join the Doctor at the end, of course. And, she convinces him, I want to travel with you. I've still got 3 months of summer vacation left. So she wants to go and give it a time machine. She can go for as long as she wants. But boy, if she could see her future from, because I don't think she ever gets home, does she?
No, initially she gets her brain swapped out with a slug and becomes a homicidal dictator.
Right.
And then they retcon that to she gets married to Brian Blessed as a warrior queen, which is the current officially accepted story.
Right. Poor Howard has to go home to her mother, presumably, and explain she disappeared.
I stranded her and then she vanished.
Yeah, she must have drowned falling off my boat. Man, poor Howard.
There's actually a story about her drowning. Her performance was such that a local in Lanzarote thought she really was drowning.
Oh.
And tried to rescue her.
Didn't notice the boat with the guys with the camera.
Yeah. And he was really honked off when he found out this was for a TV show and that he had just tried to rescue this person he thought was drowning. And he later made trouble for him by streaking through the set when they were filming
80s.
back on the beach.
Yeah, welcome to the 80s. Peri does kind of diss the TARDIS when she sees Turlough's spaceship. She goes, "Now that's a real spaceship." So that was another fun moment. All right.
Oh, so one other thing I like. So when at one point the Doctor is at a cafe in Lanzarote.
Oh yes.
And he there's something happens and he's got to get up and go, and he quickly reaches into his pocket and grabs a bunch of money and slaps it on the table and leaves. But when we see the money, it's like this is some weird alien money. This is not legal currency in Lanzarote.
The waiter comes over like, "Hey, come back." Yeah, that was funny. All right. So that'll do it for that discussion, I guess. Before we go, we do want to take a moment to thank our patrons who make it possible for us to create The Secrets of Doctor Who, including Paul B., Stephen B., Carla C., Nicholas D., and Richard M. Their generous donations at sqpn.com/give make it possible for us to continue The Secrets of Doctor Who and all the shows at StarQuest. And you can join them by visiting sqpn.com/give. So that's it from us this time. What did you think of Planet of Fire? You can let us know by commenting on the show at sqpn.com or the Secrets of Doctor Who Facebook page. Send us an email to drwho@sqpn.com or visit the StarQuest Discord community at sqpn.com/discord. You can watch The Secrets of Doctor Who on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/StarQuestMedia and, of course, leave a comment there. We'll be back next time when we'll be discussing the season premiere of the new 15th Doctor season on Disney Plus or BBC, wherever you get your things. So until then, Jimmy Akin, thank you for joining me and sharing The Secrets of Doctor Who.
Thanks, Dom.
And once again, I'm Dom Bettinelli. Thank you for listening to The Secrets of Doctor Who on StarQuest, and remember, commence the burnings!